I don't know, we might just post this, but welcome to Move with Weight 3. This is not going to be flowing. Again, this channel is just meant to show you some of what I do, and I hope that it gives you maybe some inspiration for your movement practice. But today is going to be a metabolic conditioning workout. So the goal is to get my heart rate to a bit above zone 3. I'm using my Morpheus chest strap for that. This will be available at the Strong Human store soon, but I've been using this chest strap for years. I've done a podcast with the founder, Joel Jamieson, who's worked with many UFC fighters, Mighty Mouse Johnson most notably, but many. He's a pro with this, and I love this chest strap for my conditioning work. I'll tell you right now, today's going to be tough. I love working with the sled, and I love working with the sled. I do a bit of sled each day, but there are some days where the work is a bit harder. So today we are going to have 2 to 3 segments where my heart rate's going to be fairly high. But I'll talk to you through it. I'm going to be breathing heavy, so apologies, but whew, I have to get myself ready for this. In between my hard work, I'm going to be doing either some rope flow or some club work. I'm probably going to mix the sandbag and the sled. So when my heart rate gets high, I may do the sled for like a few, and then I'll stop, pick up the sandbag, do some sandbag walks to keep the heart rate elevated. But it's just allowing me to produce force, move a heavy object through space with my heart rate high. For me, this is going to help when I'm working with another human in jiu-jitsu, thinking about like in a tournament. I'm going to have to be moving through space. I'm going to have to be continuously producing force and strength. And I'll have to do that with a level of endurance. So that's what today's work is meant to be. I'm going to set this up in Morpheus. And then we're going to get to it. So, and I'm not going to start the intervals. I'm only going to start the intervals when my heart rate gets high. So actually maybe I'll do a screen recording of what I'm setting up in Morpheus right now so you guys can check it out. So right now, here's a screen recording of what I'm doing within Morpheus. It says like 450 has gone by, but when my heart rate gets to around 155, 160, actually probably above 160, which will take me a few minutes, I'm gonna have my work time. Actually, you know what? I might just set up my work time for 8 minutes right now to start. Okay, so this will be the workout. We're gonna have work time set for 8 minutes. My initial first interval is gonna take me a few minutes to get my heart rate up to that level. But we're gonna set it for 8 minutes. That means there's gonna be 24 minutes of work. Rest time, I'm probably gonna do, let's do 3 minutes of rest. So actually 4 minutes of rest and flow. So I'll do some rope flow, some club work, etc. In my work zones, I'm gonna be doing sandbag and sled. Total time, 36 minutes. Oh, this is gonna be something. Okay. Let's start this. And let's get that music going. All right. Uh-oh. All right, let's go. Set this sled to level 3. You notice my goal for this, unlike other exercises I do with the goal of keeping it nasal to improve my efficiency, my goal is to get my heart rate high, fast. So you're gonna hear me breathing soon through my mouth and through my nose. Cool thing about the sled is that it'll give you your power output or your wattage. So when I'm pushing, my goal is to get to 300 watts and stay above there. Once I start fatiguing, it's gonna drop. You're gonna notice as time goes by, you're gonna see me pushing and pulling the sled with different shapes of my spine. The intent is to let my body know that, hey, I'm comfortable in deep spinal flexion, pulling against a heavy object. And to also strengthen that position. As a grappler, someone who loves jiu-jitsu, I have to be strong. My spine has to be strong in all positions. One thing with the sled, strengthens the body from the ground up. So the feet get into deep, oh, I gotta shut the fuck up. Get into deep ranges of motion. All right, let me just work. All right. This torque, oh, shut up. All right. Let's check something. What's the heart rate at? Here we go, good. Around 160. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. All right, stronger humans. Unfortunately, the next 10 minutes of this video are silent because my mic cut out. So I figured I'd do some explanation, some clear explanation on some things going on here, explaining the sled, explaining the intent of the workout, explaining the handles, um, and what you can kind of, bring into your practice. So the intent of this workout is metabolic conditioning along with consistent power production for a long period of time. I'm trying to get my heart rate into the high 160s, 170s. I'm trying to get to a point where I have to breathe through my mouth to be able to continue getting through this. Just because they're like, when I do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, my martial art, it's hard for me to reach the fatigue level where I have to breathe through my mouth. It takes a certain type of opponent to get me there, so I have to get myself there through workouts, so that if I go to a competition and I'm going against someone really good, and I have to pick up the pace, right? My goal is to have more pace, have more consistent power production than my opponent, and this is what the sled helps me do. The sled, the sandbag helps me do. Now, I actually made a mistake and I didn't have notification on in my Morpheus chest strap. And what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to have 8 minutes of work, 4 minutes of flow, 8 minutes of work, 4 minutes of flow, 8 minutes of work. But I actually ended up that I did 10 minutes of work for this first section, and then but anyway, so that's the goal. And for those 8 minutes, hard breathing, hard pushing as hard as, like, not as hard as I can. I'm probably at around 90%, because if I was pushing as hard as I can and it was a sprint, I would crush. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep like a 85, 90% intensity, I'm trying to maintain that level of intensity throughout. Heart rate gets high, gets like to the low 170s. Um, and it hurts. But I do this workout generally one time a week, because that's the rate that I can like recover from it well and try to make progress into the next week. It's around 40 minutes. And there's another workout I do similar to this, but it's shorter. So I'll do like a 40-minute version of this workout. And then at another time during the week, I will do a 15-minute version of this type of work. Now, the sled. The sled is super powerful, and there's something I want you to keep in mind for your practice if you have a sled. First, when it comes to the sled, you're going to see me pushing and pulling the sled while getting to different spinal positions. And I don't want you guys to start with this. I always suggest this to people in the Stronger Human community. Right now, the course where I teach this stuff, it's called the Sled Bible. It's not in the Stronger Human free community for purchase. It's only in the Flow Matrix. I'm going to put it in the free community for purchase. But the goal of doing this with the sled is to strengthen the spine in all of its positions. But even though that's the goal, that is not where you should start, okay? Where you should start is pushing and pulling the sled while maintaining a neutral spine position and breathing, never holding your breath. Master that, load that. If you have a torque, I'm using the Torque M3 sled here. Put the magnetic resistance up to 3, add some load on there. Learn to create a strong neutral spine when pushing and pulling the sled through space. After you've been able to do that well, then you can start introducing some flexion play, some extension, some lateral flexion, some rotation while moving the sled through space. But you do not start there. And when you do introduce these shapes, you should start light, meaning that if you're using, again, like an M3 sled, you put the resistance at maybe level 1. right? Not level 3. You don't have as much weight on there. And you just breathe while having some spinal flexion, some lateral flexion, maybe some movement, but you start light. And this is super important because if you just start adding in a bunch of spinal movement and you're not already adept at moving a sled through space well, it's a potential likelihood that you could tweak something. And that's not what I want to happen. I have built myself into being able to create these shapes while producing force with the sled. I did it gradually. Okay. So, just like with kettlebell juggling, you don't rush into trying to juggle heavy bells. You start with maybe a 6 or an 8 kilo. You get the hang of those movements, and then you practice those movements with a 10 or a 12 kilo. Same with rope flow. You don't start with the heaviest rope, even though so many of you, I've seen the purchases. So many of you, the men especially, have purchased the heaviest ropes, and I know that you guys got those ropes and they're collecting dust because you find them really hard to swing. But I told you, start with the light rope first before you try to just use a heavy rope. It's not about the weight; it's about the form. Anyway, um, so I want you to keep that in mind. The strap that I'm using is the Shake strap. It's available at the Stronger Human store under the functional fitness section. The shake strap is really good because you'll see in different sections of this video, I grab it with one hand. It has a bit of a stretchy feel, and I'll pull with one hand. I'll put my elbows through it and then create like a bit of a spinal shape. I explain some lateral flexion stuff I do in the video, but I'll put my elbows through and then pull and push. I'll put it around my shoulders and it's almost like I'm putting something on my back and I'm moving forward through space. There's so many ways I'm able to I'm not even doing all the ways in this video, but there's so many ways I can configure my body to push and pull the sled through space and create a different stimulus for my whole body. That is just it's next level. I love the sled, and this is one of the reasons why when I did the Tim Ferriss show, I was just so. I mean, I know not everyone owns a sled, and the Tank M3 is an expensive piece of equipment, but the thing is if you have the ability, if you have the ability, get one. It's going to be just an amazing investment. There are also, and I don't know, I mentioned this in the video, but I don't know if it was muted, but there's also the Stealth Sled. It's on the Stronger Human store. It's like $50. You will need plates, and you should not use it on concrete because the concrete will destroy it. But if you use it on grass, it's a great sled for grass. There's the ATG sled. It's a great sled also, but it is a bit loud. And the Tank M3 is also on the Stronger Human store, but it is, I believe, like $1,800. So, you know, it's just, I have to tell you guys, when something is really good, I'm going to share it with you. And I know not everyone can get it, but like, it's just that good. Here's something that I wanted to mention that got muted because there was no sound here. But you guys know the assault bike, right? There's the assault bike. There's also the ski erg. The ski erg is the machine where you're pulling down almost like you're skiing and doing a level of cardiovascular work. Well, the sled combines the whole body. The assault bike, there's a little bit, there's a little bit of upper body, but there's a lot of lower body fatigue. The ski erg, there's a lot of upper body fatigue. The sled is full body fatigue. You are pushing, you are pulling, your whole body is getting the work. That's why I love it. And that's why I don't think other pieces of equipment can compare. Does that mean I don't use my assault bike? I still use my assault bike for certain aspects of cardio, but the sled is still king. And I don't know if anything can really change that in my mind. Now, in between, you're going to see me doing, let me mention one last thing about the sled, the feet. Okay, the feet get in these deep ranges of motion to help you move that sled through space. So you're strengthening the feet also, which is one thing that I love about this. You're moving backwards, forwards, but it just pay attention to my feet every now and then and look at the positions my feet are getting into, the deep ranges of motion as I propel myself forward and backwards and even laterally. There's global strength happening here. A lot of times I get questions like, oh, what's it working? What muscles are you working? It's like some of these things work everything. The sled works everything. The sled will build your legs, it'll build your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings. It'll improve the strength of your body. And yes, it's not isolating your chest or anything, but it's getting everything. The sandbag is the type of piece of equipment that, like, it can allow you. You can do sandbag rows. You can do sandbag presses. You can do sandbag squats, deadlifts, tosses. But the training sandbag that has the handles, you could do sandbag bicep curls. You could do There's so many things you could do. It's kind of left to your imagination. Does this mean that it's like the most optimal for trying to focus on building the biggest biceps possible? No. But will it build a different level of stability and strength and body awareness as far as strength that you will probably not be able to get with the barbell? Absolutely. I think one thing to realize here is that this is a lifetime practice for many of us. We are going to be active. We're going to be doing things for our bodies to maintain strength and maintain a level of independence until the day we die. And it's good to have tools that will give us different levels of feedback to become stronger humans. And that's why I do these things. That's why I train with these different modalities. Because the only goal I have is not just being the biggest jacked person ever. It's trying to have a pain free body that can move well in all ranges, that has high levels of capacity with everything. And that's why I use the pieces of equipment I do, because I'm not just training for hypertrophy as like so many other people on YouTube want to do. It's not just about hypertrophy. I want hypertrophy, but I also want all these other movement capacities that come that you get benefit from these different tools. As I mentioned on the Tim Ferriss show, like every time you lift a sandbag, every time you lift it, it's a little bit different than the last time, right? Builds a level of body awareness, builds a level of unpredictability. Your body becomes more adaptable, right? You can deal with a level of chaos. Whereas a barbell and machines, they are very set. Does this mean they're bad? It doesn't mean they're bad, but it also means that our bodies and our intelligence of our bodies and our intelligence of our movement becomes more adaptable to different types of physical situations. Where, like for me as a martial artist, I must adapt on the fly to the unpredictable movements of my opponent. I can't think. I have to be able to move and react in various ways. And these tools help with that. So, I'm probably going to let some music play from here because I don't think I talked for the rest of the whole 10 minutes that my mic was off, but you're going to be seeing me do some flow work with the rope. I think I do a little bit of the meals and the gorse. And oh, I'll also mention this. The meals and gorse you see here, these are Persian meals. They're about 17 pounds or so each. From my friend Saeed, who is a Persian wood maker in Canada, and they're available at the Stronger Human store. He makes meals, he makes gourds, and if you're interested in these, you can get them there, but you can also get all the other, clubs and maces and stuff there. And you know what? I'll mention this. I do mention at the end of the video, but I might as well mention it here too. I know I have a newsletter with some of you guys, but I'm starting a different newsletter purely for education called Stronger in 5. And the goal of Stronger in 5 is to help you get stronger in less than 5 minutes within that newsletter. So, my promise to you is that every email you get from the Stronger in 5 newsletter, and it will be at strongerin5.com, but every single email you get from there will be an educational piece that will help you get stronger and help you give you some idea to help you build your physical practice. Okay? All right. Oh my God. Fuck. It's 200 pounds. Not crazy, but right now, that shit hurts. Oh. Come on. Come on. Power. Come on. Get it going. Come on. Oh. Come on. Fuck. 300. Fuck. All right, what am I? 30 seconds of work. Okay. Come on. Get this over there. Get to 300 watts. You got it. Get to 320 watts. Get to 320 watts. There we go. Oh, oh shit. Okay. You know, I think a weakness of mine cardiovascularly has been my top end. I feel like I have an amazing third gear, and I can like stay in third gear forever. And my third gear, I think in jiu-jitsu is like a relative to a lot of people's fourth gears. But it's when I get to that fourth and fifth gear that I start to cook myself, because I don't, until much more recently, most of my training isn't done there. So now I'm building out that top end gear of like, not maximum power output, but like 85, 90% consistent power output for periods of time, which will bring everything else up. I'm excited. All right, let's do some club. Single arm now, fucking wrecked. I have one more 8-minute section of that. Oh, whew. By the way, it's called a Persian meal. And I made that video about flow tools. There were many people in the comments that were like, the Persians got it from the Indians. So apologies. But this right here, it's available at the Strong Human store. My friend Saeed, he's a Persian woodworker who makes traditional meals and gourds. Okay. Now, this is the second part of the video where the mic kind of went out. Not sure if I was talking here or not, but doing some 360 swings here. I was too tired because I wanted to get both of the clubs, but I was too tired to get both. So just doing that here. Now, one thing that I actually want to mention before we continue on with this video, because I don't know the nature. You might be having this play while you work out or while you do something, or it's no one's at this point in the video and I'm just yapping into the ether. But towards the end of this video, I'm doing sled work, and it gets so hard that I kind of have to envision that I am in the last 90 seconds of Worlds and it's a championship match, and if I don't push as hard as possible, I'm going to lose. And this has been a situation that I've been in, unfortunately. So it's something that I bring to mind. But one thing I do want to mention is that if you're an athlete, it's a good idea in your training to pull on pull on things that will drive you emotionally to increase your performance. It may seem cheesy, and honestly, when I rewatch it, oh my gosh, it is so cringe to hear myself say the things that I said towards the end of that video. So cringe. But at the end of the day, it's like it's something that I keep in mind and helps me kind of like keep the goal, but it also gives me something like it gives me a strategy to pull on to give myself a level of artificial energy. So just something to keep in mind. And lastly, I'll mention this: if any of you guys are new and you're here, if you want to learn any of these rope flow things, there's the Rope Flow Foundations course, which is in the school community there, and also there's the Rope Flow Matrix. The Foundations course is like 5 modules, deeply detailed. So many videos to get you from a novice to being able to flow well. Then there's the Rope Flow Matrix, which has more complex movements, more advanced ideas. And as I just continue learning rope flow and developing my skill, because this is going to be something that I'm going to get better at for the rest of my life, there's like, again, just like jujitsu, I look at rope flow in a similar way where there are so many different techniques and movements that it's a practice that you can just continue to improve your skill of. I like the upper limit of rope flow has not been seen because there's always things that you can find, always intricate aspects of movement you can get better with. So that's in that rope flow matrix. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so all right. So when I say lateral flexion, what I mean, I'll have this on my arms, and I'll pull the sled in this shape while moving backwards. That allows me to maintain lateral flexion of my spine while I'm moving through space. You'll see me do that forward or backwards and potentially forwards. So put it through here, lateral flexion, pull. Keep my arms strong. Letting my spine know it's safe to produce force while creating lateral flexion. Let's go. Now lateral flexion to the left side. So you'll notice one thing too, the shake strap allows me, holy shit, I'm dizzy. The shake strap allows me to create this deep position while moving. It's a coil. I talked about this in the live traditional training video. Trust me, I'm not trying to take a break. Maybe I am, but I also want you guys to understand what I'm doing so you can, if you have a sled, you have some shake straps, you get that Strong Human store, you can work on these shapes. Start the neutral spine first before messing with like flexion of the spine, etc. And always start with lightweight. Don't start heavy. I don't want y'all injuring yourselves. Oh, fuck. All right, let's go. I'll shut the fuck up now. Now this is a later level thing, but now I'm gonna get some movement of my spine while pulling the sled. Now I'm not just pulling, but I'm getting spinal movement in while creating force. Oh, yeah. Okay, when I come back, I'm gonna get the sandbag and take it back and forth. Oh, my power is really, really getting zapped. Oh. All right, come on. Ooh. Okay. I really don't want to get the sand back. Fuck. Come on, Seema. Come on. Get to 300. Come on. Create the power. Create the power. Yeah. Fuck. How much time do I have left? 1 minute, 30 seconds. I'm hard bonking. You got this, Nsima. Come on, brother. Last minute of Worlds. You're down on points. You're fucking down on points! You gonna let him get that shit with 1 minute left? No. You're gonna push him. Because he doesn't have any left either. So you show this motherfucker what you can do. Come on. Give him the work. Give him the work. Give him the work. Give him the work, give him the work, give him the work. Yeah! All right. Promise I'll get one more set of sand back. So do it. Do it. Oh, come on. Yeah. Back and forth and up the ramp. Fuck. Fuck. Oh. 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 Stronger humans. How's move with weight 3? The goal of this was to get my heart rate high, force respiration through the mouth. Typically, while doing jiu-jitsu, I try to focus on keeping the breath through the nose as long as I can, and only get to that point where I'm perspiring through the mouth if my opponent pushes me there. But most of the time, I'm able to push my opponents without having to open my mouth. So I think that stamina is my top end, and I have to use tools like this to push myself to that metabolic level of like, okay, if we're gonna do this, we have to open our mouth. It's getting lots of air. So you guys saw some of the sled work. I explained this sled work in the Sled Bible. It's a course that's in the Stronger Human Flow Matrix, but I'm going to bring it to the Stronger Human Free group. I'm going to have it there for purchase. If you want to learn about the concepts I use for sled training, just remember, I want to keep you guys safe. So if you start working with the sled, you use a shake strap. Don't introduce deep flexion, lateral flexion until you're familiar pulling and pushing the sled with a neutral spine position. When you're strong, or you're able to do it with a neutral spine position, then we can introduce shapes like lateral flexion, deep flexion, rounding of the spine, even extension. We can introduce those. When you start, neutral spine, stay safe, okay? But this is why I love the sled, because I'm able to, like, not only do we have the dumbbell and barbell movements where we can do like the Jefferson curl and, QL raises, these movements that allow you to lift and introduce spinal shapes, but with the sled, we are maneuvering an object through space, through gait, producing force. And then on top of producing force through space, going from point A to point B, not just going up and down, we now introduce shapes of the spine. I think that this is, like, for me, it's something next level for my spinal health. Kind of like rope flow is, Rope flow allows you to maneuver the rope through space. Actually, let me do some rope flow while I'm talking. Maneuver the rope through space, right? Let me show you guys real quick. So I'm able to get deep flexion. I'm able to come into extension, right? Then I also get this figure 8 rotation throughout the whole practice, right? I can move and do this through gait, right? It improves my movement fluidity, but also is nutritious for my spine. Same goes for the sled. Now I can finally shut up, rest. How often do I do this type of workout a week? This long, like 35, 40 minutes, once a week. I'll do a shorter version that's maybe 10 minutes or 12 minutes in another part of the week. Probably on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. All right, guys, for all the equipment I use, you can get at the Stronger Human store. For courses to learn rope flow, to learn clubs and all that stuff, sled, the way I train in terms of the gym, the Untapped lifting program, it's all at the Stronger Human community. We'll see you guys in the next Move with Weight. Let's keep it moving. Oh, also, the Stronger in 5 newsletter. I'm gonna give you tips each week to get stronger in less than 5 minutes. I think that'll be strongerinfive.com, but you can sign up for it. All right, let's keep it moving.